you heard the claim. Grok 4.6 is equal Fable 5. Here is the test. True on one composite index by 1 point, false head-to-head, where it loses 7 of the 10 benchmarks they share. And the model that actually leads that index was left off the chart. Let's go through it. Grok 4.6 shipped on the 12th of August from a company now called SpaceXAI. xAI merged with SpaceX earlier this year in a deal that reportedly valued xAI at around $250 billion. The model itself is not a new foundation. It is a post-training upgrade, built on the same V9 base as Grok 4.5, a base reported at 1.5 trillion parameters. xAI has not published a parameter count for 4.6 itself. One more thing before the numbers. Every figure in this video is attributed to whoever reported it. Vendor claims are vendor claims. That is the deal. So what did the longer training run actually change? According to xAI, quite a lot of plumbing. A much longer supplemental run on curated, model-generated reasoning data and high-quality engineering data with an improved optimizer recipe. The supervised fine-tuning trajectories were regenerated across STEM, software engineering, and knowledge work. Then came reinforcement learning inside agentic environments. Knowledge work, general coding, web development, CAD, even kernel optimization. xAI also reports the model now self-tests and verifies more on longer trajectories. That last part is a vendor observation, not an independent measurement. But the recipe explains the pitch. Same engine, far more time at the gym. The spec sheet. The context window is 500,000 tokens. Text and images go in, text comes out, and the knowledge cutoff is the 1st of February 2026. There are 4 reasoning levels now: low, medium, high, which is the default, and a new top tier called xhigh. Availability was unusually broad for day 1. The xAI API Grok build as the default model, cursor on every plan, and routing through OpenRouter, Vercel, and Cloudflare. What you cannot do is run it yourself. No open weights, no self-hosting, no air-gapped deployment. If you want it, you rent it. Now the claim everyone is repeating. On the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, a composite of evaluations, xAI reports Grok 4.6 at 61. Fable 5 Max holds 62. GPT-5.6 Sol Max sits at 61, a tie. And Grok 4.5 High was at 56, so this is a 5-point jump in 1 generation of post-training. All of these are vendor and artificial analysis reported figures. But here's the thing about a composite. It blends, it flattens, and in this case, it flatters, because the composite is the only place the parity story survives. Take the benchmarks individually, and the picture turns. On the 10 benchmarks, Grok 4.6 shares with Fable 5 Max. It loses 7. That count comes from the release comparison itself. Against GPT-5.6 Sol, it does better, winning 6 of 9 shared tests. The clearest single result is Deep's WE. Artificial Analysis reports Grok 4.6 at 65.9%. GPT-5.6 Sol Max scores 73. That is not a rounding difference. That is a disclosed loss on the record in the launch materials. Credit to xAI for publishing it. It also tells you where the frontier still sits. And then there's the model that is not there. Artificial Analysis reports that Claude Opus 5 currently leads the intelligence index, the actual number 1. It appears nowhere in the release comparison. Now, a vendor choosing its comparison set is not a scandal. Everyone does it. But if you watched the launch and came away thinking Grok 4.6 is 1 coin from the top of the field, you are missing a bar on the chart. The top is not 62. The gap to the real leader is wider than the launch suggests. Accurate chart, incomplete story. Real quick, I have been wrong 3 times this week. Called a rate limit a spam filter, archived the wrong file, told someone a token was leaked when it was not. The difference is that I check every time. That is the whole phase 0 checklist. 3, linked below. The school group is where we compare notes. Even some of the wins need an asterisk. MarkTechPost went through the confidence intervals. Artificial Analysis publishes and found that the GDP val AA and EE briefcase results fall inside them. In plain terms, those are ties, not leads. The margins are smaller than the noise. Their sharper observation is worth taking seriously. The disclosed losses are the more reliable signal in this whole release. A win inside the error bars might be luck. A loss outside them is real. So when you weigh this scorecard, weight the losses first. It is a more conservative read, and it is the honest one. None of this means the model stood still. The generational gains are real, and they are large. GPT-5.6 which measures economically valuable knowledge work, went from 1526 ELO to 1753. AA briefcase climbed from 1313 to 1577. Terminal bench rose from 15.7 to 26%. New ground 2. Cursor bench at 69.9%. Frontier code at 61.3. Apex agents at 57.5. These are XAI and artificial analysis reported numbers, not independent audits. But a jump this size, across this many tests, is not nothing. It is a genuinely stronger model. The pricing has a cliff in it, and it matters more on this model than most. Under 200,000 prompt tokens, XAI's published rate is $2 per million input tokens and $6 per million output. Cross 200,000 and both double, $4 in, $12 out. On a model sold with a 500,000 token window, long prompts are the entire pitch, and they cost double. Two more details. The faster variant costs twice the standard rate, with no separate model ID disclosed, and caching only works if you set a prompt cache key or the conversation header. One Hacker News user also noted cache reads rose from 30 cents in Form 1/2 to 50 cents now. Long coding sessions feel that. Now the business story underneath all of this. In June, SpaceX announced it is acquiring Amisphere, the company behind Cursor, for $60 billion in stock. TechCrunch, Forbes, and Quartz all reported it. The deal was scheduled to close in the third quarter. Cursor's revenue went from roughly $100 million in early 2025 to over $2 billion by early 2026, and it gains access to XAI's Colossus supercluster. Grok 4.6 shipped to every Cursor plan on day one. The popular theory is that Cursor's data explains the coding jump. Here is the honest version. The deal is a fact. The data pipeline is not confirmed by anyone, and the deal had not even closed when the model shipped. So, what does it feel like in the hand? One hands-on reviewer gave it a single prompt. Build a Portal 2 style puzzle chamber. Three-dimensional objects, conservation of momentum, see-through portals with the character visible through them. It worked in one pass. The reviewer's read was direct. This is not a low-end model. This feels like a high-end smart model. The same review covers GrokBot, an always-on desktop agent pitched as an AI teammate rather than a chatbot. One caveat from a Hacker News user who ran it, Grok 4.5 was smart and fast. 4.6, they say, is about as fast as Sol. The speed edge is gone. The user reports split in an instructive way. On the positive side, one commenter says it communicates better, no wall of text, and that this matters more than it sounds. Another says they now prefer it to Claude and GPT for personal projects. In the middle, a measured take, not the best model around, but decent, and it gets the basic job done at a low price. On the skeptical side, one places it clearly below Opus 5. Another warns the benchmarks themselves are likely contaminated. Goodhart's principle in action. And a developer write-up praises the dense summaries. That range of opinion is itself the story, which brings us to the verdict. So land it fairly, 1 point off the top composite from a post-training run on the same base is a real result. It is simply not parity. Parity does not lose 7 of 10, and it does not leave the leader off the chart. The full written analysis with every figure and who reported it is linked below, along with this brief as a podcast on Frontier Watch. And if you want to build with models like this rather than just score them, the HSD Mastermind is where we do that work. Link is below.